Hello, hello. We are back. This is the Law Firm Marketing webinar, the show and tell. We are here after a few weeks break. We have a special guest with us. We're going to find out how the Care Bears movie can impact your career too. Yes, I've been reading your LinkedIn profile. It might be worth watching after this. Who knows? I will warn you now, it's only a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb. But it was obviously impactful enough that it shaped somebody's whole career. And that somebody is our special guest today, who is Jack Cooke of Beyond Films. Before we get started, though, let's have a quick introduction from the usual crowd. And we actually have a full house today, which is fabulous. Look at them all. Is there a unicorn behind you, Steiner? Is it hiding?
Here.
I can't tell.
I've got it here.
Wow, the unicorn now has a front row seat. That is fabulous. Well, let's start with you, Simon. How are you? Who are you? And what have you been up to?
Hi, I'm Simon Marshall. I work in law firm marketing, have done for 20 years. And thanks for having me as a guest today on the panel. I haven't showed up for the last few weeks. So sorry about that. I'm really looking forward to hearing from Jack today. I love people who are going to show the way with user-generated content and kind of video stuff as well. So I'm really excited about that for the year ahead. And yeah, I advise people on digital marketing and broader marketing. Small firms, big firms, doesn't really matter.
That's great. Thank you very much. And Kat, let's go over to you. How are you this week?
Very good, thank you. Should have tidied up a bit, but hey ho. I'm Kat Collier. I head up Flare Insight. We're a research and strategy consulting agency. A lot of what we do and what we're doing at the moment is helping firms navigate 2022. So what's happening with their key sectors and service lines and how they can tap into those opportunities. So that's us.
That sounds great. Thank you very much. And last but not least, our resident superhero, Rich Iron Man Dibbins. How are you this week?
That never gets boring.
Never does.
I'm very well, thank you. I'm really thrilled to have Jack on as well. Yes, Rich Dibbins, founder of Staxton Digital, providing digital marketing services to law firms, primarily around coaching with LinkedIn, social media content, as well as digital marketing support and business development for that matter.
That's great. Well, that's the usual roundup. It's good to have everyone here. And now over to Jack. Hello, Jack. Thank you very much for coming on the show today. I think we're all very excited to hear more about video, what it means for businesses, how people can get into it. And I think, we were talking before we went live here, some of the concerns people have about how to set up, the costs that might be involved, what's actually stopping them from doing this. So it's going to be interesting to get some of those answers out of you today, I think.
You're more than welcome.
Let me just give you pride of place. Let me just change this screen around, if it will let me. There we go. Well, let's put you up there. So you've got pride and place. And now we've got the whole line of us now to give you the questions and hope for the answers. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about the Care Bears. Is it still a popular film?
Not in my household. I can't say I've watched it since I saw it on VHS probably when I was 5 through to 6. But yeah, I remember. So the whole Care Bear story is for anybody that is kind of like, what is he on about? When I was 4 years old, my parents took me to go and watch a rerun of the Care Bears at the Odeon in Bristol, and that's kind of where my love of cinema and film and how you can make things move on screen and tell a story as well came from, and that's always my most vivid and earliest memory. And from there, I've become a massive fan of film, TV, which led me to want to recreate stuff for myself. And buying, my parents had a home camera. I bought cameras, and for all my life I've been creating video in one format or another, whether that's TV or whether that's just doing it for myself or for local community projects. And here I am today doing it for companies. So yeah, it's been a bit of a video journey throughout my life. But what do I do for people? I create videos that basically get them in front of their community, get them out there, get their face known, making sure that people remember who they are, because we all think we've got a unique business model and everything's, we are the one, but unless you're out there telling people and bringing awareness to yourself, people are just going to go to the next person that is creating awareness. So what I do is manage people in front of the camera and make sure that I get the best out of them to be able to create content and put it out on social media to just bring in clients and customers and get known.
That's fabulous. Right.
Oh, he's gone.
David said it's popped off. Well,
was that good enough? I don't know.
no. I think you've got to go buy a video camera.
Let's get rolling. What do you got for me, Rich?
I'll probably lead with what a lot of people, they're afraid of being in front of the camera. What kind of tips or guidance could you give our audience, which are primarily lawyers, a lot of people say the law is it's stuffy, it's old, and people, it's very hard to get engagement. But how would you encourage a lawyer today to overcome that hurdle and get in front of the camera?
Okay, yeah. Well, the first thing is the law in some way applies to everybody. There's no way we can avoid it. Depending on where you are in your business and your life, hopefully you're not on the wrong side of it, and that's affecting you. But so law has a massive place, and it affects everybody. So when you are talking about law, you can put it out as content, you can put it out as video, social media. Put it out on social media. It's going to attract attention some way, but obviously it is a stuffy subject. There's lots of broad terms and things that people just wouldn't understand unless they're in the game themselves. So for me, we'll go back to being afraid of being in front of the camera. I think a lot of it comes down to three things. So you have, of course, imposter syndrome. And I think in the law business, that's probably quite big because there's so many different lawyers and law firms out there that are competing, that actually you don't want to look a fool in front of your peers. Very understandable. And then you've got confirmation bias. Which, the worst bit about when somebody has filmed themselves is they tell themselves that they look stupid. That is it. There's no other reason for it, because if you've got good content and you've got from A to B, and it's a great video for your audience, but you don't like something about yourself, the way your hair is, and that's one thing I always bring up, ironically. But people look at that sort of thing and they get really afraid and they just go no. And then familiarity principle, it's just kind of weird looking at our own face. So that's what actually puts people off of making video. But they put it down to, I'm not very good at speaking on camera. But actually, if you're a professional and you've got good information that people need to know, that is content in itself, and people will respect you for creating content, creating video that is full of great, useful information, or it could entertain them, it could make them laugh, whichever. People are going to respect you for creating that content and putting it out. Unfortunately, it's hard to get that through to people, but I've worked my magic on a lot of people, so there's a lot of people out there making videos.
I think one thing I saw, and sorry, because my computer dropped out there very briefly, and then all sorts happened because I got information from Simon late and screwed up the screen. One of the things I saw on your LinkedIn was about, and this I think is absolutely fascinating, how people aren't keen on seeing themselves on the screen. Yep. And I think you came out with an absolutely fascinating response to that. They see themselves in video and they almost don't recognize themselves. They don't like the look. Yeah. And you said there was a reason for that.
Yeah, there is a deep psychology. Yes, and I know the piece. That is familiarity principle. I mean, there's many reasons, but these are the top reasons that come up regularly. So familiarity principle is essentially where you're familiar with your surroundings. Where we're sat now, we're probably very familiar. We feel very comfortable and safe. So why is it, when we look at ourselves on camera and on video, actually we freak out a little bit. We're like, it just feels a bit weird. But you see your face every day, like in the mirror or reflection. Surely you should be so used to your face, it actually does not feel weird to see it, on a video, and the way you're acting and mannerisms. But actually, whenever we see ourselves in a reflection, it's flipped around the other way. So when we watch it back on video, it's the other way. It's the right way around. It's the way people perceive us, but not how we perceive ourselves. So even though it's probably a very small, minute, differences in your face, they might look symmetrical. Your brain, deep psychology, is telling you that's not what you look like. That's not how you see yourself. That's not how you perceive yourself, and it becomes unfamiliar and uncomfortable. And that's people hate that. That puts them off.
I didn't know that's what the principle was, but I have the same feeling about my voice as well, Jack. So that voice you hear here when you speak, my voice sounds like, deeply masculine, and I hear this weedy voice come back in the video. I'm like, who's that guy? It sounds like something out of a Carry On movie instead. So it's exactly what you say, though, isn't it? So I just have a house rule there. I think I've told Rich and the others about it previously. Just don't watch my own videos again. Just record and shit. Right, I think once you nailed something really interesting there. It's like if you're a subject matter expert and you can dissociate, I think, between your performance and being generous to your audience, and I'm just getting it out there. I think that's. Yeah. Do you work in that area of like that psychological safety bit and how do you get people to get over that barrier of actually doing it? Because I understand all those theories, but what in practical terms can we do to get people to actually start sharing that content?
Well, I'm not going to try and plug myself too much, but I do work people through this. I do workshops.
You go for it. It's like no one else. There's no conflict here.
Guys, if you are scared of being on camera, come and see me, and you won't be scared anymore. I'll just make sure that you put some out. No, anyway.
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Well, I'll go into this a little bit, and I'll explain. So, what I get people to do is sort of face it head on. There's many different ways we can do it, but the moment people start to realize what their brains are going through when they look at themselves on video, and I've explained that, I've talked them through it, I've talked about all the different principles. They start to almost talk themselves into doing video because they're like, well, I know that what Jack said, this is just my mind playing tricks on me. Actually, if I can overcome it. But what people don't understand is why they're afraid. They know that they call themselves afraid, but they don't know why they're afraid of getting in front of the camera. So once they realize that, once they know, it almost knocks that barrier down. And it's like, you sort of revealed all their insecurities and they could just go, well, that's just me playing tricks on myself. But then I also associate that with their goals. Like, what do you actually want in life? And when do you want it? And if you really want that, like for me, I just love going on holiday. Making videos means that people know what I do, which means they hire me to do it, which means it makes me money, which means I can pay for the holidays that I want to go on, right? I want to go see the world. So actually, if I really want that, and I'm scared of this, if I get over this, that's going to lead me up the path to where I want to be. And how many times, and you also associate it again with things that people have done for themselves, like going into business for the first time, trying to get a business pitch done, in front of people. Those are scary things. If you've done it for the first time. But if you've done it by the 100th time, it's a breeze. You've done it so many times. You know what you're doing. It's a walk in the park. If you associate it with something that somebody has done before and show them what they could have, then, people tend to go, right, I'm going to give it a go. And it's not easy for the first time. It's not easy for the first 10, 15, 20, 30 times. But you know what? It does get easier. And that's how I get people over those barriers and those hurdles.
I've got to admit, when I've spoken to lawyers about doing video, that lawyers are risk averse. They don't want to be seen doing something stupid or saying something stupid. One of the aspects is that they're also worried about. They're worried about what other people will think of them. In other words, their peers within the legal world. And I go, unless they're going to come and ridicule you, which I highly doubt they do, just get on and do it, I say to them. And my coach, my speaking coach, he said to me, because one of the things I kept doing on video was I would close my eyes for some weird reason. I don't know why. And he said to me, it was a very simple trick. He said, you have my permission to open your eyes. I went, brilliant. And Simon, you don't listen to your videos back. I was taught to watch them back to then pick up on things that I could then improve upon, because I didn't like watching myself, but I never watched myself back. But then I started noticing I'm closing my eyes there. I'm using filler words and things like that. And that improved me on my speaking, my presence and everything that I would do. So, but yeah, lawyers are they're worried about what other people may think. And my good friend, he just said to me, he said, stop worrying about what other people think. Unless they're phoning you and texting you, which they won't, just get on and do it, because they're not doing it. And also the other reason why they're probably worried they might say something, they're worried they might get judged, is because they're afraid to do it. So if you do it, it's kind of overcoming a lot of barriers. So yeah, no, those are really, really useful tips.
Well, it's quite sorry, Jack. You go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
So I just want to go into that a little bit. Is your peers in your industry, unless they're like really good people, I know that like people will talk about me, right? And they're going to talk about me anyway, whether I do video or not. When I put somebody, the promotional videos or talk to people, I know that people are going to talk anyway. Like 50% of people love what I do, 50% hate what I do. But am I actually going to let, if that's going to happen anyway, I might as well just make videos so that 50%, will actually want to buy from me, and I'll be out there and present, because you can't please everyone. All right. So even if you do create a video and you think, oh, I feel a little bit stupid, you know what? Like 50% of the audience, 75% of the audience are going to love it. 25% might laugh at you, but they're not going to text you, not going to ring you, and it's going to happen anyway. Just forget about them, because they're the ones holding you back. And inevitably you're holding yourself back. So why would you listen to these people? You make videos and just prosper from it.
Spot on.
I think that's kind of what we've done here, and I think it's safe to say we're not too concerned about how we come across, to be honest.
No, this is it. And that's the difference. I think people, once you sort of start to realize that actually there is no harm, and once you start putting videos out and nobody actually calls you up or sticks letters to you through your door telling you you're rubbish, then you realize actually I'm A-okay, and then you just run with it and go for it, and you make millions of pounds, I hope. But sorry, Kat, you're going to get a question in.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there is a real opportunity for lawyers to use video, because I follow lots of law firm streams on LinkedIn, and there aren't that many that are actually using it. If they are, they tend to be behind an oak desk with a suit on and a pen. So I was just going to ask Jack, is there kind of there's probably an opportunity for lawyers to be more relaxed, so kind of in the clothes that they wear, and to do stuff at home a bit more.
Yeah.
And it will actually lend themselves to being more likable to people, because at the moment it is very much we're in a boardroom and this is what we're comfortable with. But since the pandemic, I'm assuming that people are getting more comfortable than doing things at home.
Yeah. You are onto something there. If you were to say lawyer to a lot of people, you'd think, people that defend criminals, you'd think, you think that people, split up, and split assets in divorces, and that's never a pretty thing. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind. So there is a market, like, for somebody to go in there and go, actually, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more we can benefit from it. There's a lot more you can gain from it. From having a lawyer, there's all these things that a business should have. And if somebody's doing it in a real casual, real fun manner, where people are actually sort of, they're a likable person, or at least, someone that they feel they could like gravitate towards and actually speak to, a real human being, then I can't see anybody failing at that. I think it would be absolutely amazing if like people actually put like a real took away the stuffiness from being a lawyer and actually made a casual effort, and just say, look, we're here to talk, and this is the information I can give you about this and this. Let's just have a chat, because I'm a good person. We can just have a coffee and we can make sure that you're not going to get into any legal trouble. Come and see me. And I think that's there's a market for that. Somebody should be doing that.
I think you've highlighted something really important there, which is Kat and I have probably read more flipping, and David and Rich too, more law firm websites than is good for our own health, right? And fundamentally, all things gravitate towards very similar words at the end of the day. If it doesn't say client centered, I'm not even interested anymore, frankly, right? But videos, as you said right at the front end, Jack, I think you can't be anything other than yourself on that video. Unless you're running a deep fake, right? And I think in a market, we ran the stats. We ran the stats recently for like the leaders update at the end of the month on what law firm leaders have done in terms of their LinkedIn posts, and none of them had used a video, not one, in the whole of that time. In fact, I don't think going back 3 months, Kat, any of them had done so at all, right? David, it might be worth looking at those stats quickly. I know you already gave everyone a sneak preview, but if we can have a quick look on the screen. The reason being, right, and it is geeky territory, this, I admit that as well, but we tot up the total views, Jack. So Q11 is just like the quarter before last. Q11 is the last quarter, right? So what we've done is gone and added up all the total YouTube views across all the top 100 law firms in the latest quarter, 794,000. It's going down on YouTube. And there's a really good reason for that, is LinkedIn's insisting on native videos being used. So we've seen LinkedIn videos go up 200,000 over the course of that 12-week period, right? If we're honest, Jack, it's pretty rubbish numbers. I mean, honestly, right? Like 1.3 million, whatever, video views over the course of that quarter. That's not a lot for the top 100 law firms, right? That's an advert during Corrie. Really, right? I mean, the guys who Slater and Gordon, whose video, one of them, they've got 10 million views on one of their videos, right? They're propping up the rest of the market now. But we are seeing a trend, I think, towards those LinkedIn views. But Jack, I've seen a real problem as well. People are storing their videos only on LinkedIn and not putting them on YouTube. So David's going to go spare now. All the SEO benefit, all the other stuff you get out of doing it, right, is gone. People use Google as a search engine for how to do stuff. Like, how do I change a tire on a car? How do I get divorced, Jack? Right? All joking aside, that's a great.
I don't get it.
3 minutes. 3 things you need to know. Bang, bang, bang. Right? I mean, we need to explain the videos out there more. Anyway, I've spoken enough, but just wanted to share some of the stats behind what's going on out there.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I haven't got the stats available, but I've read a couple of articles recently about how, especially during lockdown, more and more people are going to YouTube or looking for videos to get that how-to information.
Because they can't ask their mates. They can't ask their mates in the office, hey, what's that mechanic that you were doing that thing with the other day? Can you tell me that? What's that lawyer that told you how to do this thing? So it's a substitute for that mate. You don't have a water cooler moment to be able to do that thing. And if no one... So Harrison Clark Rickaby's, right? I don't normally call this out at an individual firm level. When furlough kicked in, Jack, right, on that day, they recorded a video, and we think it got about 20,000 views that day because there was uncertainty in the market. Right, and a firm outside the top 100 stepped in and went, I could write a 1,200-word piece. It's going to take me 4 days. Let's not do that. Right? They went in and said, right, you have to feel uncertain about this. This is what's going to go on. This is what we know so far. We're going to update it as we go. Right? All the top 100 firms, 2-3 days later, they all did their updates. All their professional lawyers did everything. Great, right? But that video, I think, dragged HCR way into top 100 by video rankings. Anyway, enough ranting.
Well, of course. I mean, naturally, they hit buzz. I feel like there's more trust in a video as well. Like, for me, I believe in blogging. I believe in it all. It's not, my forte, but everything has its place. But I think with a video, there's this absolute authenticity. You listen to a real person giving real information, and also you said it's quick. It's a quick turnaround as well, and that is why it got bumped up. And people were they were on it as soon as it needed to be there, because like you said, people were searching those terms, and obviously it's going to bump people up. So they know what they're doing. Hopefully you can get more of that, and obviously it's probably put them into a different category, like you said.
So I mean, David said a minute ago. Oh, go on, David. Sorry.
No, I was just going to lead on to another question, so you carry on.
It's just a quick observation. I thought you made a minute ago. It's quite interesting because David said, "Oh, we don't necessarily care how we perform on this thing," and I think that's true, right? But the dynamic, Jack, does matter, doesn't it? Because it's 4 mates hanging out and a guest, right? And it kind of is okay. But if you ask me to do a video today, David, on my own, I don't know that I wouldn't feel the fear again in quite the same way. So I wondered though, David, if this is the entree into the way you should do it. If you say to people, well, just go and do one with you and your mate, just go and record it with a couple of you instead, or 4 of you, whatever. I know they're not as well viewed, but that psychological safety thing of doing something that gets you closer to what you should be doing, and then you turn up and start talking down the barrel of the camera, right? That's absolutely fine, but it comes in due course. Anyway, that's all I wanted to observe, David, was maybe
that's very good. That was a very good point.
I was just going to say, this leads nicely into, so, you are a firm, maybe you haven't even got started with video yet. Yeah. What are those options? Now, I know some of the bigger law firms, I remember many years ago, having whole studios being set up within a room within the office. But we mentioned earlier about using, the state of phones now and the camera availability there. Yeah, what is that entry point when it comes to video? What are the options there?
Okay, so entry point is you got a phone in your pocket, pull it out. If you've got a good message, record it. That is it, literally it. That's all you need to do. Right? You look at the wealth of videos on TikTok that production wise are absolute rubbish, but are they getting the views? Yes, they are. Are people making money off becoming influencers? Yes, they are. And all they're doing is using their phone and an app. That is it, right? So anyone that thinks, I need all of this kit, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I do because it's my job, but for anybody else, you don't. But what you can do is you can go, right, and you can have a look at a YouTube video and you can go, right, okay, how can I fix up some lighting? How does that work? How can we, set up a small corner in our office and use the lighting right, use that. And it doesn't take a lot. And I tell you what, the lighting setup I've got here, the one on my face, the one behind me, probably cost me about 20 quid, and I'm hoping it looks reasonably professional. Imagine doing that. So then you can advance on that. Of course, you can go right up to, having massive promo videos created, by myself, of course, naturally, if you want anybody. Or, you can just get somebody in the office to learn how to edit a video and just chop it up a little bit more, make it a little bit fancy, put things on either end. But yeah, definitely the entry level is your webcam, and it's your phone, and just a quality piece of information that you're going to put in there, or some funny skit or whatever it is you want to do to attract your audience.
Well, if you're going to widen your audience, because some people just, if you've got a video on LinkedIn and you're scrolling through, I often just scroll past because I'm not going to press play. Are there other tips that you can use? So I don't know, there's, I suppose, subtitles or transcription. Is there anything else that you can use to kind of widen your audience beyond just having your video clip?
Yes. Okay. So very good point on the subtitles. So for me, if I'm going to create a video, one, I want it to sort of stand out. I don't want it to just be me here like this. I want, to make sure there's a good headline so it grabs people's attention. Now this comes down to the psychology of the newsfeed. Grab somebody's attention with, whatever it is, the title of, the video. Add some subtitles to it. I like to add a time bar so it runs across the bottom so people can look at it and go, right, okay, I can see how long this is going to take, because I'm usually time restricted when I'm on social media. I'm in a queue in Tesco's or I'm waiting for a bus or whatever it is. A minute and a half is probably my limit, 2 minutes. So I like to know how long that video is before I get into it. Okay. So for me, the more you can do for the viewer to make it easier for them, so subtitles, time bar, a big title at the top, and ask them a question at the end so you get comments and you get likes as well, or lead it into some sort of call to action at the end, because you want people to engage with it, because they might enjoy watching it or even reading it or whatever it is piece of content you're creating. But you want them to take action a little bit, because, quite frankly, social media is about being social. So why not start a conversation? And I think all of that together, is a great way. There's many other things you can do, but, initially, that's what I would say people should be looking at.
I'll also just very quickly say, because it's a topic on one of the projects I'm working on at the moment, is when it comes to website accessibility. And by this, I mean the general standards around the WCAG 2.1 AA standard, which is kind of a default. When it comes to video, well, when it comes to anything on your website, it is very much about that accessibility, and subtitles are a key requirement in that area. But also, they're just really useful if you're in the office. You don't want to put your headphones on, you're scrolling through LinkedIn. It makes life a lot easier.
Without wanting to be smutty as well, I think in bed, David, right? 6:30 a.m. The amount of stuff that people are reading on LinkedIn at that time in the morning, they do not want the sound on to wake up their partner, right? It's absolutely colossal. Right? If I woke up mid with some, lawyer droning on about, the takeover code, she's not going to forgive me that time in the morning. But I'm quite in relation to it instead. With that, I'm not being facetious. The other thing I want to say, Jack, really quickly, Kat probably got more interesting things to say, but I think Jack's nailed something there. You've got to talk about channels for a minute, right? On YouTube, the video's at the top. Right, so just think about that positioning thing for a minute. They've come there because they've found your video. Probably they've already found the answer to something. So that's quite important to notice. Second thing is, on LinkedIn, the video is below your post. So your headline, strangely, Jack, I think, is the video, because it'll be that screen cap is the headline, and then they might look back at the post before they press play. So you've got to think about that interplay a little bit. And on Instagram, of course, it's not that at all. It's just on the other channels, on TikTok, that is not the screen cap is the headline, and the video gets going, the autoplay. So just that channels thing, Jack, I think can change what's appropriate for my audience, what's happening when I kind of have that thing happening. But anyway, just wanted to mention that as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. But you have got to look at different channels and how I always hark back to the fact that how would you interact with it? I think a lot of people might look up loads of different information, but if there's a lot of like-minded people out there, the first person you should look at is how do you interact with those social media platforms? Again, are you watching them first thing in the morning? or do you not want to wake your partner, or and the one thing you did say as well, accessibility, David, was, and of course, a lot of people are, could be partially deaf or hard of hearing, or they might have some ailment that they that will make it accessible for people. And I think that's, we've got to look at that as a wider picture anyway, across the digital space. But just anything like that, just make it accessible, make it easy for anybody to view it.
I just know I'm not going to be responding to Simon's 6 a.m. posts in quite the same way anymore.
It's not before 4:30 a.m.
Hashtag live.
I've always seen transcription. So I don't tend, I'm probably, unlike most of the population, I don't look at videos that much. And sometimes there may be content, on BBC News, and they'll only have a video and they won't have a transcription of it. And I often skip it. Is there technology available, or would you advocate that? And this may be a question for David as well, actually, around if you're searching for terms, does transcription make it easier for that to be picked up, or is video just the way to go? This is just an open question. I don't know.
Sorry, when you say transcription of the video itself, the information.
So the kind of what they're saying, if there's a transcription underneath, or.
Sorry, I'm lost a little bit on that. Do you mean subtitles or adding the transcription to the post when you put a video on? Or
so underneath. So there's one law firm that I can see in the top 100 who has a video.
Yeah.
But instead of watching the video, you can just look at the transcripts underneath. So what they're saying.
Oh, I'm with you. Yes. I mean, I'm not 100% on the SEO side of things. I think that's for somebody else to speak about. But I do know, like, it can. Anytime you put any information out on the internet, the Google spiders, they crawl or whatever, through the website. So if there's search terms in there, I mean, I don't know 100% how it works. I'm going to let somebody else answer that, but there's no harm in it. It could do you the world of good. So why not? And somebody might just want to read it. Not everybody wants a video. A lot of us do, but not all of us. So why not have it? That's what I tell you.
I have one. If you've got the subtitles on, people will stay in your video for longer because they're watching it. So I've read something in that. One thing I was going to ask Jack as well, and actually the wider group, Vimeo or YouTube or both? Because I get a lot of people saying, I'm using Vimeo because they've got the templates and the graphics and things like that. But then people will load their Vimeo onto YouTube, or they go, no, I'm going to keep it on Vimeo. So... But Vimeo's got a very, very, very small percentage compared to YouTube. So,
the way I look at it is whenever something becomes, a term that we use, like Google, just YouTube it. Come on. Like, if that's what everybody's talking about, that's where I'm going to go first with YouTube. Now, I love Vimeo and I've used it, and it's a different animal to YouTube because it's more of a professional platform in that sense. It has so many different features, which I'm sure you could probably find on YouTube. But I've worked on projects where we've used it as the back end for behind a paywall, to make people money, basically, so people can access that information for a small fee. That's great. Vimeo is amazing for that. But if I'm going to use it, I'm probably going to use it on YouTube. If I had to make a choice, I'd probably put it on YouTube because it's the second biggest search engine in the world. So why not? And also it's Google, and like the fact that we're not going to Ask Jeeves, if that exists anymore, or we're going to Yahoo, we're going to Google. So Google's going to prioritize YouTube over Vimeo any day. So make sure it's on YouTube. It's
the second biggest search engine, owned by the first biggest search engine. It's interesting. What I always used to do with video is I actually used to use for hosting a company called Wistia. And I'd find I'd get some really good analytics, be able to put gated content in there, that sort of things. And that would be primarily for adding onto the website. And then it would be come to the website, you'll get the latest, greatest information. And YouTube was something that happened a month, 2 months later, and was almost a separate upload going up there. But it's interesting, and that did help with some of the SEO. One of the worst things I often see with websites is poorly embedded YouTube videos that when they come to an end, and in some cases, some of the content shown there is not just irrelevant, but has reputational issues as well.
Yeah, I can only imagine the things that get associated.
Yeah, so be careful when embedding YouTube video onto your website. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know, David, if you got much to say on this, but actually embedding the video direct. Oh, actually, I'm going to go straight and say native will work. You know, it's the best every time.
Yeah.
All right, because every platform wants you to stay on that platform rather than redirect anywhere else. So I would imagine, and I believe this is right, that actually embedding the video on a website is probably better than actually linking it to YouTube. David, what you got to say on that?
Absolutely, 100%. Where you can go native, where you can get as much control over that content as well.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, I guess with YouTube as well, just very brief from an SEO side, you know, don't forget to update descriptions. It's another place to put some of those questions that might be being asked in the video. It's a topic that has quite a bit of depth to it, to be honest.
Yes, we could talk. Yeah, we could talk for another couple of hours on how all of that works and how to make it work best for you. But yeah, but briefly, yeah, I get all of that. Yeah, make sure it's
You should do a practical
relevant.
session on it, David, don't you think? We should do a practical session on it, David, where you grab one of the videos from one of these sessions, then load it up and walk us through a bit about how we might optimize it. I think people would really enjoy. I know it's proper geeky stuff, but it's a video about the video and how to optimize it. I mean, we like to think that we get some of these things right, but we don't get all aspects of digital marketing right for what we're doing. So, you know, we don't. David wrote to me recently about some errors he found on my website. So, you know, he did it for fun.
Well, this is yeah. Don't forget, this is the person here that 2 minutes into this webinar managed to shut down my whole browser and disappeared off the screen.
Amazing.
But I think it's interesting as well, you know, how you get. Hey, it's interesting as well how this has evolved for me over time as well. I mean, it's gone from a simple webcam, a bit like what you've been suggesting there, Jack. There is some lighting here. I actually use my phone for the camera. I think it's certainly better than the webcam that I get. And you know, the other thing not to forget is sound, audio.
Yes.
A half decent mic. And I think for those starting out, you can start out with the basics, get something done, get used to it. And it doesn't then take too much to just step it up a level. I think, as you say, a couple of half decent LED lights, £30, a half decent mic, 80, 100, something like that. And as soon as you start grabbing some of that, I think it really starts to grow. And then, of course, you get into your attaching a DSLR and your Sony cams and all the rest.
Well, you know, to put it simply, you just on that topic is first and foremost, make sure your content is right. And a lot of people forget that. They might buy it's all the gear and no idea. Make sure your content is relevant to who you want to speak to. Make sure it is full of great information, tips, hints, or even just entertainment. And that's where you should really start, because that's what people are going to gravitate towards. That's what people are going to keep coming back to watch, because they know the first one was great. They're going to know the 10th one is great because you are bringing that content. And then look at what else you can do. Just make sure they can hear you, see you, and then work out the rest as you go along. And once you get ease into it, you'll be like, I need all the flashy bits and pieces. But start with great content and record it, with good sound and good picture.
Somebody said to me, when you do video or any kind of content you do, always think of your audience. Always think of your audience first, because they're the ones, what's in it for them kind of thing. Just a tip on with the video as well. If you're going to do any form of slide presentation, don't read the slides, please. We can all read. We're all relatively, above the age of reading, the sensible age for reading. Please don't read the slides. It absolutely pains me when I see YouTube videos and somebody's reading a slide. And if I'm in a presentation, I'm already looking at my phone because I don't need to listen to somebody reading something. One other aspect that
the reason people do that, it's really important to know this, is it's because they haven't rehearsed. If they
feel more comfortable reading their slides.
But if you rehearse, you'll have deleted out those extra lines. Right, so that's how you know people haven't rehearsed. Because if you rehearse, you think, "Wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to delete that into 2 bullets and speak to the 5 bullets of the thing." I think it's a real signal you're sending to the audience I'm not ready for this speech as well. It's dangerous. It might feel like a crutch, but it does look silly. Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of people feeling more confident that they're reading something that they know, because they're worried they might say something stupid or something incorrect. So I just tell people, I said, just have presenter mode. Have 2 screens. It always helps when you're doing video as well. And there's so many apps out there, teleprompter apps, free ones and paid for ones that you can do. But one thing that I helped my clients overcome with their video, because they were really self-conscious about it, I said, do you do Zoom? He said, yeah. I said, do you do Teams? He said, yeah. I said, how's that any different to being on camera?
Yeah.
Not an answer. Not even a, oh. He just went, you're spot on. I said, just think of it as you're doing a Zoom meeting. That's all it is. And next thing you know, I'm now getting these 5-minute videos sorted for them. They're doing webinars every month, and everything is just kind of skyrocketed for them just from me simply saying it's like a Zoom meeting. That's all it is. And I think that's what the pandemic has done. It's put us all into these cameras. It's put us all into everybody's living rooms, unicorn rooms and whatnot. So it's more a case of just people feeling more comfortable, but think of it as just a giant Zoom meeting. That's it.
But you touched on a great point there, and I think what's become out of this pandemic, not a great deal is amazing about this pandemic, but actually the use of people using video, but actually embracing this digital space that we have, this way of networking, and actually just leaning right into it, because we had no choice for 2 years. We couldn't go out and shake hands with people. We couldn't meet people again. That actually social media became this thing that people did on the side, but then actually, my business is going to go under, or things are going to go wrong if I don't communicate with my target clients and audience. And social media became a massive thing. It was great for me, in the sense that people start to embrace videos. There was a lot of webinars that I started editing, so it saw me through, certainly. But people really went, oh, let's take this seriously. I don't know how you guys feel, in the digital space, whether it's changed, whether the dynamics have changed, but certainly for me, I've seen a massive influx of people uptaking, creating content for social media, because just in case there's another lockdown or pandemic.
Yeah, in the first lockdown we had, I was thinking, and I was furloughed, and I was thinking, how can I get my voice out there? How can I get in front of my clients? I did 35-minute videos in 30 days. The hardest thing for me wasn't recording the videos. It was coming up with all the content each day.
Yeah.
So somebody then said to me, just do a full calendar of it, and then just hit record. And it was all the editing as well. That was the second bit that took up most time. So, but I was kind of like, how can I get in front of my clients? I can't visit them. Technically, I'm not allowed to sell for the company I was with at the time, but how do I stay at front of mind for them? And I've always been an avid believer of social media, but I needed to step things up. So that's why I did these 30 videos in 30 days. Chucked it on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and it just kept me going. Then I recycled that content over and over.
I did see them, and I appreciated them. So well done to you.
Thanks, Jack.
But I just want to touch on that point about content, and you did a great job of producing the content, because it was valuable, and I saw it, and it was out there, and you embraced it. You didn't just go bury your head and, oh no, let's do something. And fair play to you, fantastic. When it comes to content ideas, the easiest way, because people overthink, like, oh, I haven't got any content ideas, everybody else has got brilliant ideas, I've got rubbish ideas. Look through your emails. Look through any messages you've had with clients. Go and look at frequently asked questions on Google, all right, about your business, about what you want to talk about. And I guarantee you'll come up with so many ideas, because let's be fair, if one customer asks you a question about what you do, about your service or what you provide, there's going to be 100 other people that don't even know they're looking for that answer yet, but you put it out there and they go, that's the person I need to speak to, because he's clearly an expert in what he's talking about. And he's almost read my mind, because I kind of needed that answer, but didn't know I needed it. That's why you should be listening to your customers and creating content that is suitable for them. And they're giving you ideas all the time. So go and scroll through everything, every bit of communication you have with them. I guarantee you'll find a ton of ideas.
And just, I think one to add to that is, don't be afraid of coming up with questions and thinking, God, those are just too easy. Everyone knows that. Because quite often those are the ones that people really want to know. Just the simple, the basics. You can make a list of 20, 30 of those in no time, and it starts the ball rolling and gets you used to it.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? There is. We think we know everything. Like we think, well, if we know it, everybody knows it, all right? But actually, no. You know, probably 90% of the people you speak to, you don't know, wouldn't know what B-roll was. Raise your hand if you know what B-roll is here. That term mean anything? We see it all the time. It's just overlay footage. It's footage of the product that you're talking about. You're talking to the camera, you cut to B-roll, which is of the product. It's as simple as that. But I think, well, I know that. Everybody knows that. No. If I create something like that, people go, that's interesting, because I see that all the time in every advert I ever watch. So, you know, it's not stupid. You know, make it simple for people to understand and put it out there. I guarantee people gravitate towards you because of, you know, your expertise.
I will confess, I did many years ago study film and video techniques.
Yep.
So long ago, it was the introduction of digital video away from film.
Oh, wow.
So yes, yeah, I am that
So
old.
yes, so you know, you're in the know.
B-rolls and noddies and all the rest, yeah.
Yep. So many different little terminologies that just make no sense out loud, but when you explain it, kind of, yeah, everybody's seen it or know it. Yeah, I got it. Well done.
So what other tips do you have for, you know, those that are maybe they've got started? How can they grow their video content? What should they be thinking about?
The first thing anybody should be thinking about is narrative. So if they've made a start, like I will never push anybody into sort of like really honing in and developing a piece of content. Because, you know, if they just create video just to get themselves out there because they've been nervous about it, brilliant. That's a great start. Let's not put too much pressure on. But once they're there, let's talk about narrative. I see a lot of people start a video with, "Hi, my name's Jack. I'm from beyondfilms.co.uk. If you want to go and check out my website, I've got loads of videos on there. But today," but by the way, you've got 2.4 seconds to grab someone's attention before they go, okay, next bit of video, or click onto the next YouTube video, or whatever it is. Go straight in. Because if I came in and said, if my first line was that, introducing myself, you're probably going to switch off. But if I came in and said, in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how to make £1 million with video, the likeliness is you're going to watch the end and you're going to keep watching, right? Come here. I mean, I can't do that. I'm not holding any promises.
Oh, I'm waiting.
I'm keeping that secret to myself. There we go. But no, I mean, so basically, if you come in, you go, right, okay, I just want to show you how to use a spreadsheet to do your accounts in 2 minutes. People are going to go, oh, that's just for me. I'm going to keep watching. But if you introduce yourself, they switch off because there's an abundance of information out there. They'll go find it somewhere else. So that's when you need to have a look at sort of narrative. How do you get them in with the hook? Then introduce yourself and why you are the talent, or maybe not, because, you know, they might already know who you are because they've been following you on LinkedIn for 2 years. So you might not even need to introduce yourself, or maybe a very brief little bit, and then take them through the instruction. Get them out the other end. This is a silver lining. Your life is going to be better because you don't have to worry about your accounts come January. Boom. You know, you got more free time to spend with your kids or whatever it is. Give them some silver lining to do, you know, doing this bit, taking action on this, and then go, you know what? If you want more information or you want to have a consultation, let's have a one-to-one. Yeah, just hit me up in the DMs, or, you know, send me an email, or head to the website for more information. You know, because they've already got that instilled trust in you, you can ask them to take action, and then that obviously starts building onto the sales process, and that awareness is there. But don't ramble on, get to the point, create great content. You know, but I will say, going back into platforms, LinkedIn, social media, sort of minute and a half video I'll consume. I'll go to YouTube and watch 45 minutes of a video. Think about where your client is going to be, where they're going to find you, and what their mindset would be when they find that bit of footage. And just think about that.
I'm just really hoping I caught people at the top of this video with the mention of the Care Bears. And for everyone watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe now.
Yeah, there we are. Good call to action. Love it. Your life is going to be so much better if you put all these hints and tips into this video. Head to, exactly. And there's so much more I could talk about, but we haven't got all day on that. But you know, I'll tell you what, we'll go down the line and we'll probably get into a wrap up. But is there anything anybody here is struggling with doing with video right now that I can answer?
I think you've covered a lot there. I think it would probably be, well, maybe the editing side for somebody just getting in Is there an easy way to do editing? If you're moving from that single camera, what are the options there?
So your easiest option is to use an app. There is a great app that is available on Apple and Android called InShot. For most people, you might want to chop it up. You might want to keep the ums and ahs in there and chop them out later if you don't really want that in there. But for most people, they'll just run a video, but they want to chop off either end where they're pressing the button. InShot is great for that. You can add music, you can add titles, and you can shape it into different formats. So yeah, I think that would be a good start with editing. And once you get sort of used to that and you understand sort of how you want the video to sort of feel, have download a free trial of some software. There's plenty out there. Things like Wondershare are great. Go get on that, and then and just start playing with it. But if you don't like how you're editing, if it's taking too much time, you can outsource it. It's very affordable to outsource making videos and editing. But I would say a basic editing, just find a good software, good app, and there's many free ones out there, and just play with it, learn it. They're easy to use.
I think if also just quickly, if you are an Apple user, I think iMovie is free and part of most of your apps and all the rest of it. It's not quite as simple as some of the others, but it's one route, I guess.
But I mean, basic editing skills is gonna change your videos, amazingly, and make a big difference. So go and learn just a little bit of something. Go and ask your niece or your nephew to teach you how to do it. Whatever it is, somebody can teach you, and go and learn it.
Who's up next?
I think it's
Come on,
just
Simon. You normally have tricky questions.
Yeah, I just wondered. I mean, I've been predicting the kind of deluge of user-generated content within law firms, Jack, for several years now. Eventually, if I keep doing it, I'll be right. So I wondered if you were thinking that this is going to be the year in which my prediction is going to be right, that we're going to see more people kind of take to video and share from the iPhone, as it were.
Yes, absolutely. People are going to be embracing it. I think TikTok has done a massive deal for that. Again, the pandemic has done great things for that. And I think it almost snowballs. And the more that people see other people creating content, let's say you're a yoga instructor and your local competition is going to start making videos, which they're great on Instagram. You're very visual is yoga instructors. But yeah, I think people are just going to go, right, I've seen a lot of that. I need to do that myself. I need to take action. People are scared still, but I think more people are going to embrace it, give it a go, give it a try, and hopefully win at it as well. Certainly, I found myself the uptake on what I'm offering is much busier. So yeah, I think you're right. It is the year of video, and it's going to keep growing. Every social media platform is embracing it harder and harder. Instagram have allowed you to put more than a minute-long video in their feed now, and you can upload from your desktop. They are embracing it heavily as well. So if the social media platforms are going, we should be doing video, guess what? You should be doing video, right?
Good to know. Thanks.
Okay, well, we're just coming up at the top of the hour now. If there's no more questions from the usual gang, then Jack, tell us if somebody is interested in video production, how can they get in touch with you? Where's the best place to find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, just Jack Cooke, but with an E. Yeah, that's where I'm doing most of my communication with people. But you can find me at beyondfilms.co.uk. If you're watching this today, it's a little bit of work left to do on it, and it's going to go live. But there is a landing page for you. And yeah, just come and have a chat, have a conversation. I'm happy for anybody to come and send me a question, send me a DM. I've no obligation, to buy from me or anything like that. But if you're concerned about video, you're worried about it, just come and ask me a question, and I'll see if I can get you on the right path to creating video for your business. And hopefully we'll talk more in the future.
I think it's definitely, if a business isn't involved with video at the moment, it isn't part of their roadmap. It's definitely something to consider.
Absolutely.
Jack, thank you very much for being on this week. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I think, as we've said, this could have gone on for much longer. So hopefully we'll have you back another time, and we'll dive in a little bit more deeply into the ins and outs of video.
That sounds amazing.
So Any further comments, questions from the rest of the gang before we head off to hopefully a warm and sunny weekend? I'm being
I just want to
optimistic.
say thank you again, Jack, for coming on. I've learned, I've been scribbling down InShot and Wondershare. I'm going to go and take a look at those this afternoon. Because I do use the Apple's version of Movie Maker, but I've looked at Adobe Pro or Adobe Premiere as well.
Pro, yeah.
Talk
Bells
about
and whistles.
like iMovie on steroids. So I'm running a 50-day trial with that at the moment. But I'm going to look into those other two as well, because I want something that's fast and effective, but I can add some additional features to it, shall we say.
Amazing. Well, you know where I am. So yeah, have a look at them, and when you've got any questions, come and see me, man.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Right then, until next week, thank you for watching.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.